Hi and welcome to honestselfhelpbookreviews.com, and today we're looking at a review of You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. An honest review, and thank you for tuning in. This video is about changing your future by changing your thoughts. Now, if you've ever struggled to make a change in your life, this video is going to help you understand, using some diagrams from the book, about how you can make those changes. Now, one of the tricky parts of changing your life is that with our mind, there's two parts to our mind. There's the conscious mind, which is logic, reason, creativity, and will, which is about 5% of our obviously of our brain capacity. The other part, the subconscious mind, is 95% of our brain capacity, which involves our skills, habits, emotional reactions, hardwired behaviors, conditioned responses, associative memories, routine thoughts and feelings, attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions. Now, that can be the problem, because if you're wanting to change consciously, you might be thinking, I want to change my life, I want to move forward, I want to do something different with my life, I want to be a different person. The problem is you're going to come up against your unconscious mind, which has a vested interest in you staying the same and keeping hold of that certainty and keeping you safe, because you have these hardwired emotional reactions you've had since you were born, even since in the womb. You've got these conditioned responses to life, to people, to different experiences. You have these associated memories from all the different stages of growth in your life, depending how old you are when you're watching this video. You've had a lot of memories that give you a certain certainty and sense of how reality is meant to be and meant to play out. You have certain habits and routines that you follow every single day that you've done for many, many years. You have certain attitudes that you've held on for a long time, whether that be positive or negative or a mix of the two. And you have certain beliefs that have been taught you and that you've learned yourself from, maybe the culture, the religion, education, family, different areas like that. And you also have different perceptions of reality, your opinions about how reality should be. So you have all of that, and that's largely unconscious. So if you're wanting to change your life, you are coming up against that subconscious mind, which is like the elephant pulling the person. So if you imagine this subconscious mind is the elephant and the conscious mind is a person, so the conscious mind is trying to get the unconscious mind, the elephant, to move in the same direction, but obviously the subconscious mind will go wherever it wants to go. Now, the problem with which he talks about in the book You Are the Placebo, really intelligent book, changed my life when I read it a couple of years back, and I'm reviewing it today because I simply want to just get the message out. He talks about the past and the future and how the same thoughts, choices, behaviors, experiences, and emotions, which are purely, most of these, 95% of these thoughts, choices, behaviors, experiences, and emotions are unconscious. You're doing them on autopilot. You're almost like a programmed robot. So you are going to be living in the past because you've created a certain understanding of how life should be, and that is how you're going to be moving into the future. So unless you make changes in the way you think and the way you feel, your destiny is pretty much set in stone. Yeah. So the way to get in and change that stuff is to start working on your unconscious mind. And what he talks about in the book is called mental rehearsal, and he talks about many famous athletes prisoners of war and chess players and who've used their unconscious mind and used mental rehearsal to be able to give them that edge to be reprogram that subconscious mind to a different future. So what happens is when you have new thoughts, new choices, new behaviors, new experiences, new emotions, it programs a new future, and the same past no longer exists, and then the same future no longer exists because you've changed the way you think. And it all literally just starts with changing the way you think. In order for that to happen, you want to be able to create an experience. So what's happened is experiences in your life have created the person who you are today. So you've had this experience, and maybe for example, you were riding your bike to school and you got hit by a car, and that experience was quite a traumatic experience for you and your family. You were hospitalized for 6 weeks, you had a broken leg, and that would have neurologically wired and enriched your brain in a certain way, and emotionally and chemically programmed your body. And so what happens is every time you look at a bike, you might be 35 years old and you're looking at a bike, it brings back that flood of memories of when you had that accident, and that's going to be affecting the way you are today. So that's what happens is an experience happens, and from that experience we have a whole lot of thoughts and feelings and beliefs and perceptions and attitudes that come from that. And to think that we've had dozens and thousands of experiences in our life, some more significant than the other, which are unconsciously, which have formed their part of the unconscious programming, which is how we are. So how do we change ourselves? In the book he talks about to change our body by thought alone, it starts with a thought, and that every thought we think influences the neural networks in our brain. And when the neural networks in our brain are affected, they release neuropeptides and hormones. when they release neuropeptides and hormones that sends an epigenetic signal to cells. This epigenetic signal to cells activates cell receptor sites. Those cell receptor sites get engaged in DNA selection and regulation, which leads to expression of proteins, which leads to an expression of life, and which leads to the health of your body. So if you're, obviously this is an example of whether you're well or unwell, or sick or diseased, have a disease, that your thoughts are directly leading to the health of your body, whether they're stressful thoughts, peaceful thoughts, happiness in where you are at life is directly leading to the health of your body. So he talks about how every single thought is activating neural networks, neuropeptides and hormones, epigenetic signals to cells, activation of cell receptor sites, DNA selection and regulation, expression of proteins, expression of life, health of body. It's all coming from your thoughts. It all starts there. So he talks about in the placebo, gives many examples if you check out the other videos in this series, that the placebo is, what happens is something from the outer world changes the inner world. And because the inner world is changed, the inner world begins to shift the inner world. And then what happens is the inner world changes the outer world. So what happens, say, for example, the person is given a drug, for example, or has a surgery. Maybe they have a fake knee surgery and they're told it's a real one, but it's a placebo knee surgery and the doctor says it's the best knee surgery in the world, but it's just an experiment. So what happens is that belief in the efficacy of the surgery causes the inner world to change through those beliefs about how it's going to work. And because those beliefs are there that the surgery is going to work, it's going to be great, but even though the person doesn't know that the surgery is just a fake surgery, a placebo surgery, it actually changes the inner operations of the body. And because the inner operations of the body change, the thinking, the cells, at a cellular level, it changes the outer world, but by consequently the person enjoying health in their knee. So that's how it works with placebos. So he says with you, when you change, you consciously make a decision to change your thoughts, that is going to affect your inner world on a cellular level. And when on a cellular level, your inner world is going to affect the other parts of your inner world, and then that inner world is going to affect your outer world. You're going to be happy, you're going to be moving to a different place in your life, you're going to be achieving different things. He also just talks about having elevated emotions versus limited emotions. So he talks about the higher emotions like creative, selfless emotions like gratitude, love, joy, peace, inspiration, wholeness, trust, knowingness, presence, and empowerment. These are the emotions which are going to help you program and reprogram your unconscious mind. But he also talks about which you can use these creative emotions in mental rehearsal. Which is something I talk about in the other videos. But he also talks about survival emotions, which are selfish emotions like doubt, fear, anger, insecurity, worry, anxiety, judgment, competition, hostility, sadness, guilt, shame, depression, and lust. These are survival emotions. These are emotions of the ego. They're about survival, about certainty, about just keeping you alive and breathing. But they're not necessarily the emotions that are going to make you happy. So in terms of changing, and I'm going to talk about in the next slide, is that we want to be using these emotions in mental rehearsal of gratitude, love, inspiration, peace, wholeness, trust, knowingness, presence, and empowerment. So what happens is with mental rehearsal, when you get in and you visualize, because nerve cells that fire together wire together, when you get in and visualize yourself doing something new, making a different choice, becoming a different person, when you meditate on that, it creates an elevated emotion or an energy which creates a new experience. And so what happens is you begin to change your biology on a cellular level. There becomes a future now, and the past no longer exists. And so what happens is this past now, this older you, this old experience, it becomes overwhelmed by the new elevated mental rehearsal. So when you are visualizing yourself running a marathon, when you visualize yourself lifting, that world record amount of weight in the gym, when you do that, and you can do that with those higher selfless creative emotions in mental rehearsal in a relaxed manner, you're going to be overwhelming those past limitations in your unconscious mind. Remember, we talked about our unconscious mind, the 95%, which is limiting you up here. That's limiting you. So we're going to overwhelm that through the mental rehearsal and by overcoming the past experiences and opening yourself up to the unlimited potential of the future, which you and I have, which is we're escaping this. the same thoughts, same choices, experiences, behaviors, and emotions, and we're moving to this, where new thoughts, choices, behaviors, and experiences and emotions are going to create new timelines through mental rehearsal. So, and another word for mental rehearsal is placebo, giving yourself a placebo on a daily basis, many times a day. So that's you. You are the placebo. My review: change your future by changing your thoughts. You can check out my website, honestselfhelpbookreviews.com. I have lots of great reviews coming with lots of videos and a written blog that you can check out. It's fantastic. It's tremendous value for you. I didn't see a video on the internet which sort of properly gave justice to this book. It's a fantastic book, so I encourage you to get out there and get it. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, like it, click subscribe. Be more great value coming for you. Have a fantastic day and check you soon.